NFL Trending, News Script, Anchor, Roger. Good evening, I'm Roger, and welcome to NFL Trending, where we break down the biggest stories shaking up the football world. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most talked about headlines in the league. Shedeur Sanders has been snubbed. Again, this time in favor of Dillon Gabriel and veteran Joe Flacco. And there's one key reason behind it that's raising eyebrows across the NFL landscape. Let's get right into it. Shedeur Sanders, the Colorado star quarterback and son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, has been one of college football's most polarizing and popular figures. From his flashy play style to his unmatched confidence, Sanders has brought attention, energy, and swagger to Boulder. But despite his growing fame and solid performances, recent reports suggest that several NFL teams, and even media analysts, have placed him behind Oklahoma's Dillon Gabriel and veteran quarterback Joe Flacco in early rankings and evaluation discussions. Now, this decision has sparked a firestorm of debate. Fans are furious, analysts are split, and the question on everyone's mind is simple: why was Shedeur Sanders overlooked? According to multiple insiders, the key reason comes down to one word: consistency. While Shedeur Sanders has shown flashes of brilliance, critics argue that his overall consistency, especially under pressure, still leaves something to be desired. Scouts have pointed to Colorado's late-season struggles and Sanders' performance behind a shaky offensive line as factors that have hurt his stock. Let's be fair, Sanders has faced enormous challenges. Colorado's offensive line gave up one of the highest sack totals in the nation last season. Despite that, Shedeur still managed to throw for over 3,000 yards and more than 25 touchdowns, often carrying the team on his back. His ability to extend plays, throw off-platform, and remain poised under constant pressure has earned praise from some of the league's top evaluators. But when compared to the steadiness of Dillon Gabriel and the experience of Joe Flacco, teams seem to be leaning toward safer, more proven options. Dillon Gabriel, now one of the most efficient passers in college football, has been drawing attention for his decision-making and quick release. Scouts see him as a polished product with high football IQ, something NFL-ready coaches can plug into a system without needing to rebuild his fundamentals. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco, yes, the Super Bowl MVP himself, continues to earn respect for his leadership, veteran presence, and ability to manage games efficiently when called upon. So what does that mean for Shedeur Sanders? It means that despite all the talent and upside he brings, the NFL world still wants to see more. Analysts believe he needs to show consistent production against top-tier defenses, improved pre-snap reads, and a better sense of pocket awareness. But let's not ignore the bigger picture here. There's more to this snub than just stats. Some insiders believe that Shedeur's growing brand presence, nil success, and off-field spotlight have made certain traditionalists within the NFL uncomfortable. In other words, his confidence and charisma, the very things that make him marketable, might also be creating skepticism among old-school evaluators who prefer quieter, less outspoken leaders. We've seen this before. Dynamic personalities, like Cam Newton and Johnny Manziel, once divided scouts and executives for similar reasons. The difference is that Shedeur's on-field play has often backed up the talk. Still, perception in the NFL matters, and image can sometimes weigh as heavily as performance. Deion Sanders, never one to stay silent, recently defended his son in an interview, saying that Shedeur is built for this level and will prove the doubters wrong when the time comes. Coach Prime also emphasized that Shedeur has faced tougher adversity than most young quarterbacks, from rebuilding a struggling program to handling intense national scrutiny every single week. Meanwhile, supporters argue that the comparison to Gabriel and Flacco isn't entirely fair. Gabriel has benefited from a stable offensive line and a system designed around quick reads and timing throws. Flacco, while experienced, is 40 years old and clearly in the twilight of his career. Sanders, on the other hand, is just getting started, and his ceiling might be higher than both combined. Statistically speaking, Shedeur's numbers stack up favorably. His completion rate sits above 70%, and his touchdown-to-interception ratio rivals some of the top prospects in the country. What's hurt him most isn't talent, it's the team around him. Scouts know it. Analysts know it. Even opposing coaches have acknowledged that if Sanders had a better supporting cast, the conversation would look very different. But again, this snub isn't just about production, it's about perception. Some in the NFL community believe Shedeur still has more to prove in leadership and adaptability. Others argue that his offensive style, heavily influenced by spread concepts, might need adjustment at the pro level. Whatever the case, the buzz around this snub has only intensified interest in where Sanders might land when draft season rolls around. As for Dillon Gabriel, his draft stock is trending upward. His calm command in high-pressure situations has impressed evaluators, and his experience in multiple offensive systems makes him an intriguing candidate for teams needing a plug-and-play option. Flacco, on the other hand, remains a trusted veteran, a stabilizing force who can still deliver when called upon. For a young team or a roster seeking depth, that reliability holds immense value. Still, one thing is clear: Shedeur Sanders isn't out of the conversation, not by a long shot. If anything, this snub might fuel him further. He's already hinted on social media that he sees and hears everything. In a recent post, Shedeur simply wrote, "They'll remember." A short, powerful message that speaks volumes about his mindset heading into the next phase of his career. And let's be honest, the NFL thrives on storylines like this. A talented, outspoken young quarterback fighting to silence critics? That's the kind of narrative that drives headlines and captivates fans. Whether you love him or doubt him, Shedeur Sanders commands attention. Every throw, every game, every statement, it all gets magnified. If he continues to develop and prove his critics wrong, this snub could become one of those turning points we look back on, the moment the league underestimated a future star. And knowing Shedeur's competitive fire, you can bet he's taking notes. As for Deion Sanders and the Colorado program, this controversy only adds fuel to their already passionate fan base. Coach Prime has turned the Buffaloes into one of the most watched teams in America, and stories like this ensure the spotlight stays right where they want it, on Boulder, on the Sanders family, and on their mission to rewrite the narrative. In the end, the Shedeur Sanders snub says as much about the league's mindset as it does about the player himself. The NFL loves polish, experience, and predictability, but greatness often comes from those who challenge the mold. And Shedeur Sanders, for better or worse, is doing just that. So whether you agree with the scout or think this is another example of bias against flash and individuality, one thing's certain: Shedeur's story is far from finished.